Hello, another week, another video. And today, by the New Year's time and between Christmas and New Year's, there was always even more reflection. And I was reflecting a lot about living a dream life. So today I thought of sharing another part of my story of my life. And today it is a traveling part. Ever since I remember, I always wanted to travel. And I don't know where it really comes from, but that was something really strong in me. So I always was so determined to travel as soon as I could and all over the world. I was always very dedicated to learn at least English as a foreign language because I knew that just speaking Polish would be very limiting. So that was something that I was pursuing since I was a little kid. But there were other obstacles that I had to work with. I'm from very average middle class, working class family. Nor poor nor rich. I've never lacked anything, but my family could never afford newest devices, branded clothes, and expensive trips abroad. Now I see it as a blessing. Everything is the way it's supposed to be. That made me really creative. I had my priorities and I had my big dreams. And when I was thinking of these dreams, whenever I first think of a big dream, it always feels impossible in the 3D reality at this very moment, usually because of some limiting financial resources. But I wanted to be free. And traveling is a metaphor of freedom for me. Very strong metaphor of freedom. God works in favor of courageous people. And everything was always aligned for me so I could travel the world. Or at least this is the decision I made, that I decided to see everything as if it was aligned for me, that I could live my dreamed life. This is a topic of some conversations sometimes, or it used to be a topic of some conversations whenever people were saying, yes, but you're traveling so much and you had this and you had this and you had this privilege. But a lot of people usually in these situations, they don't see a lot of obstacles that I also had. And it was not an easy journey. It was not a piece of cake for me to come where I am right now and also to pursue where I want to be. So it's always work, so it's always step by step improvement and development towards to really live the dream life. Really want to emphasize it because this is the philosophy of my life, that everything is a choice. And how I see a problem, how I see an obstacle, it's my choice whether I see it as an obstacle that's gonna stop me from doing something, or I see it as an opportunity to discover a different way of doing something and something that's gonna make me stronger, that I am able to expand the capacity of receiving and living the biggest life. I started to travel alone right after I turned 18. I was already looking forward to it so much. I couldn't resist. I met first older friends that helped me to discover the ways how to do it. So in Europe, definitely budget airlines and couchsurfing was the way to do it for me. For the first 8 years of traveling, I never paid for accommodation. It was always an exchange. It was always couchsurfing or volunteering exchange. Whenever I could, I was always receiving people from the world in my house so that I could pay back all the blessings that I was receiving when I was traveling. And I never lacked anything. I never was left alone in the street. I was always taken care of by the universe. The more I traveled, the doors were opening and I had more and more opportunities. Within time, I was receiving some invitations. Also, I was in the dancing world at that time, so sometimes I had the opportunity to travel because of some festivals, because of some performances that I was being invited to perform at, or I was working. It was just a self-feeding circle of opportunities. And this is how I traveled mostly around Europe, and I've been to many countries in Europe. Then it slowly started to expand, and I started to travel a little bit farther. But even before I finished university, I moved to Berlin. So moving abroad is another leap of faith. It's another story, especially with limited financial resources. I spent in Berlin 2.5 amazing years. I didn't want to travel that much during that time abroad because I was already abroad, and Berlin was so exciting for me that I just wanted to spend as much time as possible there. But after pandemics, I spent the difficult time of lockdowns there, and I started to prioritize my health even more, and I discovered raw vegan lifestyle, fruitarianism, and I wanted to have access to better fruits. I wanted to be closer to the nature. I wanted to have more sun. So I started to think of going to South America. I was following on YouTube some fruitarian communities, and a lot of the people from the West were moving to South America or Central America. So I wanted to go to Costa Rica or Mexico, but somehow everything ended up the way that I went to Brazil. And I wanted to travel from Brazil up to Mexico, spending in every country more or less 3 months. This is what usually a tourist visa allows you. But somehow I stayed in Brazil for 1.5 years, and I just ended up basically living there. And I had full immersion of this crazy and beautiful experience living in the nature. In the northeast Brazil, I lived 8 months on an island. Another 6 months I lived in an eco-village in Bahia, where I also discovered my therapeutic path, and I did all my certifications in Ayurvedic yoga massage. I also studied nonviolent communication, and also what Brazil taught me and what I got to experience is this amazing connection with the ancestors, amazing connection with the earth, appreciation of the earth. And all of this was happening while I was living on the most beautiful beaches in the world. I also managed to transition into mostly raw lifestyle. I eat mostly fruit and fresh vegetables with some addition of steamed, cooked veggies. Really helpful to live in a sunny, hot climate with abundance of coconut water, which I love, which I find the best drink in the world. And it was all happening there. In the meantime, I already was able to start working, traveling, and giving massages on the way. My lifestyle was just evolving, and I was given opportunities to be able to sustain this lifestyle for a longer time. Today I'm recording this video from the south of India, where I came to do my yoga teacher certification. And it was absolutely another big dream. I've been dreaming of coming to India to study yoga for at least 8 years, I think. And whenever I was dreaming this first, I probably had a kind of like amount that would not even allow to buy me the tickets to do this travel, to make this travel possible. And within the time, I just learned my way, how to do it, how to monetize my skills, how I can also work on the way, and really live in my purpose. I'm very happy to share this story to inspire somebody who is maybe still hesitant about dreaming big and is feeling that maybe life is just about getting a good job, 9-to-5 job, get married, get a house, get your loan, then just live in one place, and then maybe being able to afford once or twice a year to go for some vacation in some tropical paradise places. Even if you have the slightest feeling and slightly different idea about how life could be for you, you should definitely go for it. Just don't listen to anybody and just go for it. Even though it feels impossible right now where you are, and it's not there yet in the 3D reality that you are living daily. But if you really want it, and if you prioritize it, and if you dedicate, you're gonna be living this life fastest that you can ever imagine. So to make a conclusion of all what has been said here, first, identify what is your dream. I'm talking here about traveling, but it might be anything. But if it's traveling, make sure that it's really this. If you're not sure, that's also fine, as long as you can commit to it, because you will never know unless you try. So be open for trying and always be ready to change your plans. It's okay if something turns out not to be for you once you're already doing it. But at least in the beginning, be sure that you want to try and that you want to commit to make it happen. Because it's not a piece of cake. It's gonna take work, focus, and determination. So with this being said, also remember that every decision has its price to pay. It works both ways. So whether you decide to stay somewhere, there is a price to pay there. And also during traveling, there is a lot of prices to pay on the way. It's not always as Instagrammy as you think of. There's this tendency that if you just see these beautiful pictures and beautiful videos on YouTube, you might think that it's just a beautiful, smooth journey. No, there is a lot of challenges, but that's the beauty of it also, because what traveling teaches me, it teaches me throughout putting me out of my comfort zone much more than it would usually happen if I was only in one place, especially in my home country where I am familiar with so many things. I am so often in a new city, I am in a new country. There are different languages being spoken, there are different customs, there are different rules. You always need to adjust, you always need to be super aware and attentive on what's going on around you. But if you're courageous, you're gonna be fine. God takes care of you. The universe is gonna protect you. But you have to be aware. So, okay, I really came to a secluded place and then still there would be people just walking into the frame. But that's India, you're never alone. Another thing I want to mention, especially around this New Year's time when there is all of these conclusions coming around and then there are all these New Year's resolutions. Be already proud wherever you are. Be proud of yourself wherever you are right now, because you only know how much work it took to be where you are right now. Be proud of this and acknowledge. I've been a lot in this trap where instead of being happy and thankful for where I am right now, I would be unhappy because of where I was not. And that was definitely a vicious circle, and I don't want to be in this vicious circle anymore. So be thankful, be grateful and proud of yourself, because it's only you that could be here in this time, in your divine timing. And probably the most important and the most significant teaching from traveling for me is that it's very unique and special way and very accelerated way of getting to know myself better. And this is the most precious. If you want to travel or not, but always remember that traveling within you, having these internal journeys within you and getting to know yourself better, that's all what life is about. This is the most important and the most gratifying, the most beneficial thing that we can ever do for ourselves and therefore for the universe. So around this New Year's Eve for this 2024 that is just around the corner, I'm wishing you all the most beautiful travels around the world and all of those within you. The deeper you go, the more you know yourself, the better life gets. So I wish this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for watching, love you guys, and I see you in the next video. Side note, was one request for me to record a video about what exercises I did to cure my sciatica pain. But where I am currently, I couldn't really do the good setup to show all of this. So I'm definitely gonna do this in the next destination. I'm moving to Thailand next week, so I see you from there.